I never thought my life would turn into one of those dusty Western tales where loyalty gets trampled underfoot like a forgotten cattle trail. Growing up in the wide-open spaces of Montana, where the Rockies kiss the sky and the wind carries whispers of hard-earned trust, I learned early on that family and business were one and the same. My name's Jack Harlan, and for over 16 years, I'd poured my soul into Harlan Ranch Supplies, the company my grandfather founded back in the Dust Bowl days. It wasn't just a job, it was my bloodline, my legacy. We supplied everything from feed to fencing across the western states, keeping ranches alive through droughts, blizzards, and market crashes. It all started on a crisp autumn morning in Bozeman, the kind where the air smells like pine and promise. I was in the old barn-turned office, reviewing shipment logs for our biggest client, a massive cattle operation out in Wyoming. My fingers danced over the keyboard, optimizing routes I'd mapped out myself, cutting fuel costs by rerouting through less congested highways, dodging tolls, and syncing with weather apps to avoid snowed-in passes. 16 years of tweaks, late nights, and gut instincts had turned our ops into a well-oiled machine. I was the VP of operations, the guy everyone called when a truck broke down in the middle of nowhere or a supplier ghosted us. That's when Tom Whitaker, our CEO and my uncle by marriage, strolled in without knocking. Tom had married into the family 20 years back, charming his way from a small-time salesman to the top spot after my dad passed. He was all smiles and handshakes, the kind of guy who'd slap you on the back while picking your pocket. "Jack, got a minute," he said, leaning against the doorframe like we were about to shoot the breeze over coffee. I pushed back from my desk, notes still open on my screen. "Sure."
Tom.
"What's up? Got those Q4 forecasts ready if you want to dive in." He didn't sit, just crossed his arms and dropped the bomb. "Effective next quarter. Sarah Klein's taking over ops. You'll help her get up to speed." Sarah was the new hotshot he'd hired 6 months ago, fresh from some fancy business school in California. All glossy resumes and zero dirt under her nails. She'd been shadowing me, but I figured it was just to learn the ropes, not steal them. The words hit like a rogue steer. My thumb hovered over the next tab, the one labeled Supply Chain Resilience. But suddenly, it all fell hollow. 16 years, building vendor relationships from scratch, negotiating contracts that saved us millions during the feed shortages, pulling all-nighters to reroute deliveries when wildfires blocked I-90. And now this? I stared at him, waiting for the punchline. None came. "You've always been a great teacher, Jack," he added, like that softened the blow. "This is about fresh eyes. Scaling up." In that split second, my mind raced through it all. The family barbecues where I'd toasted Tom's vision, the times I'd covered for his bad calls, like that overpriced software deal that nearly tanked our inventory system. This wasn't a promotion for her, it was a kick in the teeth for me. But I didn't explode. Out here in the West, you don't show your cards too soon. You let the storm build. I closed my laptop with a soft click. "Understood," I said, voice steady as a Montana horizon.
No arguments. No please.
I walked out of that office, heart pounding like a Mustang in a corral, but my face as calm as a still pond. Later that afternoon, Sarah knocked on my door, looking every bit the eager beaver in her tailored jeans and boots that had never seen mud. "Jack, I'm thrilled about this. Can't wait to learn from the best," she said, notebook in hand, like she was ready for a TED Talk. I nodded, forcing a smile. "Let's start with the basics." But I didn't dive deep. I showed her the surface stuff, the shiny dashboards, the high-level reports. No access to the custom algorithms I'd coded for our tracking software. No peek at the emergency vendor lists I'd cultivated over years of handshakes at rodeos and county fairs. Nothing that could hurt if she fumbled. Over the next few days, she tagged along to meetings, tossing out ideas that sounded good on paper but would have wrecked our flow, like switching suppliers to cut costs without checking their reliability in blizzard season. Tom watched from afar, beaming like a proud papa at a Little League game, oblivious that his golden girl couldn't tell a backhaul from a bail hook. But I wasn't seething inside. Not anymore. While they played power games, I dusted off an old document from our family partnership agreement, amended during a rough patch 5 years back when investors pushed for stability. I'd suggested the clause myself, Section 4.2b. Any demotion or shift in authority for key family executives without consent triggered immediate severance, equity buyout at fair market value, and protections for operational continuity. With our company valued at over $400 million in AG supply chains, my stake wasn't peanuts. I just had to let them dig their own grave. Nice and legal. Western style, no showdowns. Just smart paperwork. Tom cornered me after a grueling morning auditing a delayed hay shipment from Idaho. "Jack, let's chat," he said, steering me to the tack room we used for private talks. No computers, just saddles and the smell of leather. He paced like a coyote circling prey. "We're growing fast.
Jack.
New markets in Colorado.
Infestor Bass.
Need new blood at the helm. Sarah's got the spark. You'll stick around. Train her up. It's not about titles, it's vision. You're making me report to her," I said flatly. He waved it off. "A shift? Sure. But HR's got the announcement ready. Let's keep it simple."
No fuss.
That's when I nearly grinned. He just tripped over the clause without a clue. Back during that investor round, the board had fretted over losing core custodians like me, the ones who knew every backroad and handshake deal. The language was ironclad. No consent, full payout, vested shares. And if they dragged their feet, penalties kicked in. I nodded like the dutiful nephew. "I'll look over the draft." We shook hands, and I walked away, the weight lifting off my shoulders like a lifted saddle. The next morning, I arrived at dawn, the sun painting the ranch in gold. Clean shirt.
No frills.
I'd archived my files, backed up what mattered. Everything still ran smooth under my watch for now. Sarah breezed in at 8, coffee in hand, waving like we were pals. Tom followed, relaxed as ever. "Ready to hand off?" he asked. I set an envelope on the old oak table, the same one where Grandpa Harlan had signed our first big contract. "Actually,
I'm resigning."
Effective immediately. The room went dead quiet, like the hush before a thunderstorm. Tom's coffee froze mid-sip. Sarah blinked. "What?" I laid down my keycard.
Laptop.
And the formal notice. Tom skimmed it, confusion turning to a frown. "You can't just quit like this. We had plans." "I know," I said. "You made 'em clear." I turned and left, the door creaking behind me.
No chasse.
No drama. Just the sound of their world cracking. By noon, the fallout started. Legal pinged, then frantic meetings. My letter hit the right desks: Family Council, Risk Head, and our lead investor from Denver. Clause 4.2b wasn't fluff, it was law. Signed in a rush during funding pressures. Tom called it a mistake. But legal confirmed $12.8 million payout, based on our latest valuation. Investors blew up. Why no heads up on a triggered clause? An emergency family board call was set for that evening. I drove home to my cabin on the outskirts, the mountains watching silently. This wasn't revenge, it was justice, Montana style. But as the day wore on, a twinge of something else crept in. Regret? Family ties run deep out here. The calls started flooding in before I even unpacked my truck. First, it was Aunt Clara, Tom's sister-in-law and our bookkeeper, her voice shaky over the line. Jack, what in God's name is going on? Tom's in a tizzy, saying you blindsided everyone. I could hear the clatter of the office in the background, folks whispering like tumbleweeds in the wind. I leaned against my porch rail, staring at the endless prairie. It's all in the letter. Clara. They demoted me without a word. Claus kicks in. She sighed. The kind that carries years of family baggage. But we're family.
Jack.
Can't we talk this out? Family. That word had kept me loyal through thick and thin, through the lean years when beef prices tanked, when floods wiped out half our warehouse in Billings.
But now?
It felt like a noose. I hung up gently, promising nothing. By afternoon, the investors were circling. Hank Dawson from Rocky Mountain Ventures, the guy who'd pumped in millions during our expansion, emailed first. Jack. Heard about the resignation. Clause 4.2b, that's a doozy. Board scrambling. You open to mediation. I forwarded it to my lawyer, a sharpshooter named Rita from Missoula who'd handled ranch disputes for decades. No drama. Just facts. She replied quick. Let him stew. Clock's ticking. Inside Harlan Ranch Supplies. The cracks spread like dry riverbeds in summer. Sarah tried leading her first supplier call that day. I got the scoop from an old hand, Mike, who'd been with us since the 90s. He texted, she botched the feed pricing forecast bad. Couldn't explain why we reroute through Utah during monsoons. Suppliers are spooked. Tom downplayed it. Of course. But clients noticed. Our biggest Wyoming rancher paused a $8 million annual contract, emailing, concerned about ops continuity. Jack's protocols kept us afloat last drought. Need assurances. That hit the board like a branding iron. Projections for Q2 relied on those renewals, expanding into Nevada, upgrading our fleet. Without them, everything from hiring cowboys to buying new semis ground to a halt. Day 2. Tom's tone shifted. He left a voicemail. Jack. Let's grab a beer at the old saloon. Misunderstanding, right? Sarah's green, but she's got potential. I didn't call back. Instead, I hiked up to the ridge behind my place, the one overlooking the valley where Grandpa first staked our claim. Wind whipping through the sagebrush. I thought about Dad, how he'd trusted Tom, brought him in as a partner. Blood and business, mixed like oil and water sometimes, he'd say. But he'd always chosen family. Rita updated me. Legal at the company was reviewing the clause frantically. It wasn't just cash, it included my share of the family trust, vested immediately. And if unpaid in 7 days, 3% daily interest, plus potential forfeiture of proprietary systems I'd designed, like our custom logistics app tied to satellite tracking for remote ranches. By day 3, a board member, Uncle Frank, Dad's brother, reached out personally. Nephew, this is tearing us apart. Come to the ranch house tonight. We'll hash it out over supper. I went. Not for them, but for the ghosts of the place. The old homestead smelled like Mom's apple pie and wood smoke. Tom was there, looking haggard. Sarah absent. Jack, Tom started. I messed up. Thought fresh ideas would help us grow. Didn't think it'd trigger all this. Frank nodded. Clause was for protection, not punishment. We can amend it. Keep you on with a bump. I sat there, fork idle. It's not just the job.
Tom.
It's trust. You married in, but I grew up in this dirt. 16 years. And you slide me aside like yesterday's feed. The room fell quiet. Clara teared up. We're family.
Jack.
Money's one thing. But this? I left without committing. The night sky full of stars mocking the mess below.
Meanwhile,
out in the world, opportunities knocked. A rival firm, Big Sky Logistics in Cheyenne, had been watching. They're so
Elena Vargas.
called, heard you're free. We need your expertise on Western routes. VP spot. Full autonomy. I met her in a diner off I-25. Booths sticky with syrup. No BS, she said. We respect what you've built. Draft your own terms. It was tempting, a fresh start, away from family drama. But as I drove back, passing familiar landmarks, a seed of doubt grew. Was this revenge worth fracturing the Harlans? Day 4.
Clients escalated.
Another big outfit in Oregon flagged delays, citing leadership uncertainty. Investors demanded a full audit. Tom called an emergency family meeting, but I skipped it. Rita fielded their pleas. Equitable settlement? Sure. But per the clause. The pressure built like a summer squall. Sarah emailed me directly. Jack, I didn't mean to step on toes. Let's collaborate. Too late. But her words stirred something humane in me. She was just ambitious. Not evil. Maybe Tom was blind. Not malicious. By day 5, the total payout climbed to $13.2 million with interest. The board panicked, voting to settle. But Rita advised holding firm. They need a lesson in loyalty. I spent the evening with old photos, Dad and Tom laughing at a cattle drive. Me as a kid on my first horse. Family wasn't perfect, but it was ours. Perhaps there was a way to end this without total destruction. The settlement talks kicked off on day 6. In a neutral spot, a conference room at a Helena law firm. Mountains framing the windows like silent judges. I sat across from Tom, Sarah, and the board reps. Rita at my side.
No yelling.
Just the click of pens and the hum of AC. Western disputes get settled civil-like, but with steel underneath. Tom led off, voice gravelly. Jack, we're prepared to pay out per the clause. But let's talk retention. Company needs you. Rita slid over docs, valuation confirmed at $420 million. My cut, 3% equity. Plus severance, $13.5 million now. Full vest. No strings, she said. Sarah chimed in. Earnest. I respect your work.
Jack.
I jumped in too fast. Maybe co-lead. I leaned back, boots scraping the floor. It's bigger than titles. This company's in my veins. But you treated me like hired help, not kin. Frank cleared his throat. We own our mistake. Amend the agreement, protect everyone equally. The room tensed. Investors hovered via Zoom. Faces pixelated but stern. Hank Dawson spoke up. Losing Jack's a risk we can't afford. Clients are jumping ship.
Indeed.
2 more contracts paused that morning, one from a Nevada dude ranch, another from Colorado feedlots. Whispers in the AG community spread like wildfire, Harlan's falling apart. I could have walked then, check in hand, started anew at Big Sky. But staring at Tom, eyes tired, shoulders slumped, I saw echoes of Dad's trust. All right, I said finally. Partial settlement. I keep half the equity vested, take a reduced cash out. But I come back as equal partner. Veto on ops changes. And Sarah trains under me proper, no shortcuts. Murmurs rippled. Tom nodded slow.
Deal.
Family first. We shook on it. Papers signed by sundown. Not full revenge, but justice tempered with mercy. As I drove home, the sun dipping behind the peaks, a weight lifted. Lesson learned, loyalty's a two-way trail. Back at the office next day, things hummed different. Sarah shadowed me humbly, asking real questions about drought contingencies and vendor loyalties built on barbecues, not boardrooms. I get it now, she admitted over lunch. It's not just numbers, it's people. Tom pulled me aside. Thanks for not burning it down.
Jack.
I got ahead of myself. I clapped a shoulder. We're Harlans. We fix what we break. Clients trickled back, reassured by my return. The Wyoming rancher renewed, even expanded. Big Sky offered congrats but understood I was rooted here. Yet, the experience changed me. I started mentoring younger staff, sharing the Claw story as a cautionary tale. Read the fine print, but remember the heart behind it. One evening, at a family gathering, Clara raised a glass to second chances. I smiled, the mountains watching. Revenge had its pull, but redemption felt warmer, like a campfire after a long ride. But peace didn't last unchallenged. Whispers surfaced, rumors of Tom's side deals with shady suppliers, cutting corners on quality feed. Sarah confided, I saw emails. He's bypassing protocols. My gut twisted. Was this why he pushed me out? To hide something? I dug quiet, using my access. Logs showed irregular shipments from an unvetted source in Idaho, potentially tainted hay, risking livestock health across the West. Confrontation brewed. Tom, I said in the barn one dawn. What's with these off-book deals? He stiffened. Just saving costs. Nothing illegal, but unethical. Could ruin us and our clients' herds. He waved it off. You're overreacting.
No.
I wasn't. I looped in Rita, prepping evidence. This wasn't personal anymore. It was protecting the legacy. The board reconvened. Evidence presented. Forged invoices. Quality skips. Investors demanded Tom step down. He fought. But facts won. Founder emeritus. They called it ceremonial. No power. Sarah stepped up. Trained proper now. We'll do it right, she vowed. I took the reins as interim CEO, focusing on transparency. Clients praised the cleanup. Business boomed. In the end, Tom left quietly, moving to a small spread in Wyoming. We stayed in touch, family. After all, he admitted fault over time, finding peace in simplicity. The lesson? Betrayal stings, but facing it with integrity rebuilds stronger. Out here, the land endures, and so do we. Wiser for the storms. As interim CEO, I implemented new safeguards, annual audits, family counsel for big decisions. Sarah became a solid partner, her fresh ideas blending with my experience. We expanded sustainably, partnering with eco-friendly suppliers, earning green certifications that boosted our rep in progressive Western markets. One day, a young intern asked about the clause incident. I shared openly. It's not about winning, it's about fairness. Protect yourself, but give grace when you can. Tom visited months later.
Hagen Hunt.
You were right.
Jack.
Pride blinded me. We rode the trails, talking like old times. Forgiveness mended what revenge couldn't. The company thrived, a testament to balanced leadership. And me, I found peace in the saddle, under vast skies. knowing I'd honored the Harlan name. With Tom sidelined, the real work began rebuilding trust, not just in the company, but in the family. Mornings started early, coffee brewing in the old kitchen as I reviewed logs. Sarah joined, eager but grounded now. "Let's audit those Idaho shipments," she suggested. We uncovered more subpar feed laced with cheap fillers, risking animal health violations under USDA regs. I reported it clean. No cover-ups. "Transparency's our new brand," I told the team. Clients appreciated the honesty. The Wyoming rancher even referred new business. But the mystery deepened. Digging through archives, I found emails hinting at Tom's motivations, a personal debt from bad investments in crypto ranches, pushing him to cut corners. It wasn't malice toward me. It was desperation. Confronting him at his new place, a modest cabin overlooking the Tetons, I laid it out. "Why didn't you come to me, Tom? We're family." He stared at the horizon.
Pride.
Thought I could fix it alone. We talked hours, unraveling years of unspoken strains. He agreed to counseling, and I helped settle his debts quietly from my settlement funds, not as charity, but investment in healing. Back home, Clara organized family therapy sessions. "We've let business poison the well," she said. We aired grievances, my resentment, Tom's insecurities, Frank's detachment. It wasn't easy. Tears flowed like spring melts. Sarah confided her own story, pushed by ambitious parents. She'd overlooked relationships. "You've taught me balance, Jack." Operations flourished. We innovated drone deliveries for remote ranches, AI predictive stocking tied to weather data. Valuations climbed past $500 million. One challenge, a competitor poached staff, spreading rumors of our instability. I countered with town halls, sharing our turnaround story. "We're stronger because we faced the fire." Investors applauded. Hank offered, "You're the glue, Jack." But the true test came during a brutal winter storm. Supplies stranded.
Client panicking.
I rallied the team, using old protocols to reroute via snowplows and helicopters. Sarah shone, coordinating with FEMA contacts she'd built.
Post-storm.
At a celebration barbecue, Tom showed up unannounced. "Proud of you all," he said, hugging me.
No titles.
Just kin. The lesson crystallized. Revenge tempts, but empathy endures. In the West, where isolation breeds resilience, family bonds, forged anew, are unbreakable. As spring bloomed, I mentored Sarah for CEO transition. "Earn it daily," I advised. She nodded. "And keep the humanity." I stepped back to advisory, focusing on community, donating to local AG schools, teaching kids about ethical business. Looking back, the demotion wasn't a burial, it was a rebirth. For all of us. Years on, Harlan Ranch Supplies stands as a beacon in the West, ethical, innovative, family-run. I'm semi-retired now, tending my own small spread, but I consult when needed. Sarah's at the helm, blending vision with heart. Tom's back occasionally, offering sage advice from his emeritus perch. Our rift mended through time and talks. The clause? We updated it. Fair protections for all, with mediation clauses to prevent escalations. No more hidden mines, open trails instead. Clients thrive. We've expanded to sustainable tech, like solar-powered feeders. Community ties strengthened, sponsoring rodeos, aiding drought relief. Reflecting on that shocking demotion, the unexpected path led to redemption. The lesson? In life's drama, choose humanity over vengeance. It builds legacies that last, like the enduring Rockies. Family gatherings are joyous now, laughter echoing without shadows. I've found peace, knowing we turn betrayal into growth. To anyone facing similar storms, read the fine print, but lead with grace. Out here, that's how you weather it all. A mystery letter arrived, praising my stand. Turned out to be from Grandpa's old partner, long retired. You honored his spirit, it read. It reminded me, roots run deep. We host annual retreats now, blending business with bonding trail rides, storytelling around fires. Sarah married a local vet. Their kids play in the same fields I did. Tom mentors them, passing wisdom. The story's not revenge, it's resilience. A humane end, where lessons lighten the load for the next generation. In the golden western light, life's mysteries unfold, but with family intact, we ride on.